Ah, there you are. Perfect. Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Perfect.
I see you this time. Awesome.
Awesome. All right, great. Sometimes we start in for whatever reason helps with the Instagram app. So great. I was just saying that today is another episode of Tales from Vegan Sanctuaries from around the world, and we have the co-founder. The other founder is the other co-founder is Kelly. This is Alex Welch, and I got the pleasure of crossing paths with Alex on social media, and we had a meeting, and we really hit it off greatly. And I'm incredibly excited about welcoming Karma Farm Sanctuary as one of the partners of Vegius. And today we are going to find out a little bit more about their beautiful journey, their story of veganism, and a lot about them and about their beautiful institution. So Alex, thank you so very much for taking the time to do this with me today.
Hey, thank you so much, Faik. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate you being here and doing what you're doing for animal sanctuaries and rescue organizations all over the world. I think it is super cool. And most of my followers know I run Karma Farm Sanctuary with my awesome wife, Kelly. I got our Karma Farm Sanctuary shirt on. And but my followers might not know you and what Vegius, formerly Vegan Stay, is. Could you explain real quick, what is Vegius?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Vegan Stay, in fact, was just the first component, but from the very beginning, we had this comprehensive vision. So Vegius is a platform, the app, the beta version will be launched next week, and then the alpha version will be available by January 1st. So because we needed to, in fact, we're planning to start it this Monday, but then we were having some technical issues, so we had it until next Monday. We're going to get feedback and work on it. So it's a platform that provides all kinds of services that includes travel accommodations, staying like in Airbnb. It's a ticketing platform like Eventbrite, but then down the road, and that means in a few months, we are going to add services where we'll be listing vegan businesses of all types and shapes. And we invite vegan animal sanctuaries from around the world to participate as partners, and we automatically donate up to 50% of the service fees that we charge on the platform to them so that they can focus on their beautiful work. And we believe that this is very important because as the vegan economy grows, it is incredibly important and vitally important for a kinder, better world, to include vegan sanctuaries in that formula, and then to make them the center of that landscape, so that they will have the resources that they so sorely need all the time, so that they could carry their vital and very, very important work. And so this is the sort of like the basic idea, and there are all other details. So.
Absolutely. I love how you explain that. I think it's a really great way to support animal charities through commerce. And as you said, the vegan economy is growing. And I think it's an awesome way to align the values of what people spend their money on every day with where their hearts lie.
Absolutely right. Because the way things are done and the way things usually go is that there will be a lot of abundance created, but that abundance gets concentrated in the hands of very few. Why not take that and distribute it a lot more evenly so that the people who helped create the abundance participate in benefiting from it? And we're talking about organizations run by people who are incredibly compassionate, resourceful, minimalist, vast majority of whom are women. And in fact, it's funny, you are the first male that I actually host.
Hey.
Yeah, and there is your wife, of course, that is very critical to the sanctuary. So it's either single women or couples who are women are very, very vital to that. And it is something that really needs to be acknowledged. And so it's animal rights issues, social justice issues. So we can together re-engineer the economic landscape in such a way that it is more democratic and more equitable. So it's not just a matter of whoever has more resources creates the tools, capitalizes on it, and then we create the same thing of wealth being concentrated in the hands of very few, while there are so many people who are, in fact, indirectly created it indirectly, but in very, very important ways, get left out of the equation. And then they spend a lot of their very vital and important time in trying to raise funds just to stay afloat. Yeah. While they did a lot of the work that they need to be acknowledged for. And I think, to me, it's self-evident. It really is. It's just self-evident thing. Is the right thing to do. It is the decent thing to do. Is the sensible thing to do. And let's do it, right? I mean, because we can either do something about it, or we could complain that the world is not fair. And guess what? The world is not fair. We make it fair. Fairness is an instinct. It's something that, whatever, call it the universe or God or whatever somebody believes, endowed us with. And so we manifest it. And I think this is the way to go. I really believe it's the way of the future. So
I think so too. I think organizations like Vegius, aka Vegan Stay, and other organizations like One to Save Many, I make a lot of posts about them. I think organizations like that are leading the forefront of this advance in civilization, really to a more civilized society where our morals and values that we speak of actually align with how we interact with the world and other beings around us.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And Alex, and to you, I think it's so vital to magnify voices like yours. It's so vital on all fronts. So the ethics front. And I personally believe our relationship with animals, it really is the civilizational question. I wrote my status on Facebook just a few weeks ago. I just said, I have heard of human civilization. I look forward to it. It hasn't started. And I believe it will start the day we close slaughterhouses. Yeah. The day that we recognize the sentience around us, the abundance in that sense. And I think, and the way to go there is by magnifying the voices and the missions of these beautiful institutions, vegan animal sanctuaries around the world. So, Alex, you are very unique bodybuilder. So
thank you.
When somebody looks at your images, they would say bodybuilder, somebody was a YouTube channel. I looked at your YouTube channel, cryptocurrency and all of that. I can pretend it's not. That's what I'm putting in this shirt so I could hide it. Hey, look, I'm even bigger.
Thanks, man.
Prove me wrong. No, but it's amazing because even your followers, I saw some of the people commenting on our announcement, lots of bodybuilders. And how does it all come together for you? And where does veganism fit into all of this? When did your journey started? What motivated you? Please tell us anything you would like to share about your background and how we got to today.
That's a big question, man. A lot of magic, right? I would be remiss if I didn't say I think God has a plan for me and a purpose, and I'm just following through on what I feel is right. So a lot of this is just leading with my heart and my gut instincts. Obviously, so with my wife Kelly, so I couldn't do any of this without her. At least this animal sanctuary thing. I've been vegan for 10 years. She's been vegan about 10 years, vegetarian for 20. And that's something we shared our values on when we got together. And I always had a dream of owning a farm someday. And then when I was doing volunteer work for a pit bull rescue up in Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, and Detroit area called Lucas County Pit Crew, great organization. And I was helping with pit bulls and dog fighting rings and the bait dogs used there. And I saw some really terrible stuff. This was in my younger 20s. I wasn't vegan yet, but it really opened my eyes to some of the atrocities that humans put animals through. And that, I think, warmed me up to veganism when my friend then showed me Earthlings. It was instant. I went vegan after that, and that was 10 years ago. And then I got into the vegan dating scene, which I'm sure all of you listening are probably familiar with. It is tough out there. But the internet's beautiful for that. So I found my wife across the country. We shared our values and dated long distance for 2 years. And then I moved down to Florida to be with her. And we bought this farm, a little house. And very quickly, through our volunteering and helping out in the animal rescue networks online. All of a sudden, somebody's like, this pig's going to die tomorrow. We are going to kill this pig if somebody doesn't come get it. And we're just like, we've got 5 acres and a little house. Like, let's go. We got this pig, Scarlet, and we rescued her. We stayed up all night building her a pen and spent the whole next week fencing off a pasture in the woods. And she is one of the happiest, most loved pigs on earth here. And that's just how it started. And it just quickly escalated from there. The need for animal rescue is, it's almost infinite, really. So networks and organizations that help each other are vital. And we just play a small role in this. And we can only do as much as the resources we have. So time and money are our biggest constraints. We both work 3 jobs and 100+ hours a week, 7 days a week for the past 4 years. It's totally crazy. So, but we love it. It gives us purpose in life. We see the work directly. We see the animals. We see their eyes and how happy they are, how they're free from suffering now and they get a chance to live. And, for us, that makes it all worth it. And, so that's how it started, man. I don't know if that was, if that answered all your questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, but it's very, very beautiful. And, you talked about the dating scene, and I think it'd be worth mentioning. I tell people, well, being vegan as a man is probably one of the only venues in the world where you would be outnumbered by women 4 to 1.
Yes, absolutely. I tell all my single friends that I'm like, guys, just go vegan, and your odds of finding an amazing woman go through the roof. Really, if I look at the dating apps that my friends are using these days, what are they, like Tinder and other ones? You're like swiping on them. It's like 1,000 guys for every girl or something. Right? So 10 to 1, I don't know. But on the vegan dating websites, it's like 10 females for every male, and it was awesome. All right, so it was so different. Guys, if you're listening, go vegan. Women love it. They love compassion. I think it shows true strength and character. And it'll definitely change the dating scene for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, having a personal service, personal things along the dating and all of that is another component would be adding to Vegius down the road. So we will give it a lot of thinking, so that it isn't just a matter of people are treated as discardable commodities. That's why we are going to go about it in such a way that it humanizes romance again, or compassionizes romance in a way that is very constructive. So you met Kelly 10 years ago. Both of you were vegan. So, and then the sanctuary part, was it? So you had the dream about starting a farm. Then when you guys got together and when you started the sanctuary, from the time that you got together to the time you started the sanctuary, how long did that take? And how long ago did Karma Farm Sanctuary start? What year was it established?
So Karma Farm started approximately 4 years ago, and unofficially, but then officially we incorporated about 3 years ago. And last year, we got our 501c3 nonprofit charity status. So we're a fully tax-exempt charity organization. We're doing everything by the books. And that just adds a whole nother layer of administrative everything else. But it's worth it to do it right, if you ask me. Because what I found, especially on Instagram, there are a lot of fake organizations out there that, are asking for money and donations. I have hundreds of them following me. Like every day it seems a new one follows me, and then they hit me up for money, and I'm just like, I look through their page and it's like the same pictures and all these things, and it's like, so you got to be really careful. Do your research and make sure you're supporting real organizations, and try to support something local, like in your country if you can, something that you can verify is real. if you have references from people in the animal rescue organizations and networks, that's a great thing. If you need recommendations for me, ask me. I know dozens and dozens of animal sanctuary owners personally, especially in the southeastern United States where we are. And I can tell you which ones are like the most boots on the ground, hardworking, legit organizations that put every single dollar towards the animal welfare. So that's one thing I recommend. And so 7 years ago we got together, and then 5 years ago in Florida, we bought this house like a month after that. And then I think it was like 6 months later, we started unofficially rescuing animals here. And then it just kept going. And now we're up to 30 full-time residents that call this their forever home. Mm. And that's about, we're hitting our money and time-wise at about 30 full-time residents. And we also facilitate rescues outside of that. So then these like vegan action rescue groups on Facebook and other things, there are all of these situations that come up with animal abuse, neglect, or just animals that are going to be like killed in a very short time frame if they can't get rescued. And sometimes we jump in on these and mobilize the resources and the people in our network to get these animals to safety and get them the medical care that they need, and then get them to a trusted and vetted home, whether that's another animal sanctuary or a trusted member in the animal rescue volunteer community.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just touched on something incredibly important about the mission of an animal sanctuary, which is education is incredibly vital. Because if you look at the numbers of the animals that can be rescued from this monstrosity that we call animal agriculture, it's not even 1%. It's not even probably one in the million. But that's, of course, it's really and absolutely worth it. But I think the vital thing that sanctuaries are incredibly vital for is education, is changing hearts and minds so people preemptively don't harm animals, and therefore we don't bring more and more of them into misery. So reversing that trend is another very vital part. And as we were saying earlier, when sanctuaries are, struggling financially and logistically all the time, well, they don't have time to do the educational work, which I think is incredibly vital. And hopefully by partnering with them, ultimately we're going to find more and more resources and allow them to and support them. It's of course they are incredibly resourceful. They are finding their own way, but contribute to helping make that even ease that burden on them a little bit. And I think it would be incredibly vital. So Alex, 30 animals. And so tell us about the support structure that you have. So in terms of volunteers and in terms of memberships, so how do people become members? What kind of memberships you offer? And volunteers, how do people go about finding you in order to get in touch and learn more about volunteering program? And I just want to say, one listener is saying the government should be paying for animal sanctuaries. Absolutely, but the government unfortunately is too busy subsidizing, agriculture, big agriculture. Right. So they don't have money. Poor things. They don't have money.
Backwards. It is so backwards.
Yeah.
I agree, Bryce. Absolutely. So Faik, to what you were saying, the easiest way to support us would be go to Karma Farm Sanctuary on Instagram or Facebook. So it's at Karma Farm Sanctuary. The link is in my bio of my YaBonks profile, which is like my crypto YouTube channel that's now grown into this whole big other thing. Now it's outgrown me, and I'm just trying to keep up with it. But Karma Farm Sanctuary has a link tree link right there. You can click it, and it has our Patreon page. And if you join our Patreon, you can become like a monthly supporter. And that's the easiest and best way to support us, in my opinion. And we do all sorts of fun, cool things for our Patreon supporters. Like sometimes we'll just send them pieces of animal art to say thank you, or give them updates about the animals here that you might not see on our other social media pages. You can do that. If you join our Patreon and you DM us and say, hey, I'm doing this because I want to support this animal, you can absolutely do that. And we will do our best to give you updates on that animal and like pictures just for you. We go out of our way for the people that support us. Our donors are super important to us. And we're just trying to build that so we can scale the work that we're trying to do here. And that's also why I started my YouTube channel, YaBonks, and the crypto and DeFi thing, because it's a scalable business that I can then use to funnel all my money that I make into my sanctuary. We don't have a 401k. Like, we're not investing any money right now. Like, our retirement is shot at the moment because we put every single dollar we make into the sanctuary, and we have for like the last 3 or 4 years, and it's only going to keep going like this. So I don't know what I'm going to do there other than just try to succeed so big that I can just plow through it and scale this thing. And then I'll figure out the rest later. Luckily, my wife is on board with that plan. She's as crazy as that. You kind of have to be crazy to start an animal sanctuary. You kind of have to be. So that's the easiest way to support us is on Patreon. We also have like a PayPal donate button and all that. Those are the 2 best ways. And then also, if you want to support my YouTube channel, YaBonks, my channel's fully monetized at this point, so you can like sign up to be a subscriber, paid subscriber on YouTube, and I have a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee and all that stuff too, and a Discord club where people talk about crypto and share personal stuff. We got a whole community there of like 1,000 people. It's a really cool place if you're into like crypto and DeFi stuff. But that's like my separate for-profit business that I'm using all the profits to support Karma Farm Sanctuary. And then we have jobs on top of that. Like I said, it's before the sun comes up, we're working. The sun goes down, we're still working 7 days a week, forever.
Oh, yeah. And it is something that I would like to discuss in a moment. But before that, I would like to mention that I would love to become a Patreon donor starting in January 2024. Absolutely,
thank you, man.
Oh, absolutely. I try to, because I try to join as many sanctuaries that I connect with. Of course, there is the work through Vegius, but for me, it's very personal. Sanctuaries to me is something that absolutely sanctuaries have this very soft spot in my heart. And joining a sanctuary, you become like a member of a family. Yeah. That's really what it is. Joining a sanctuary, the sanctuary family, it really is a very, very special thing. It's such a privilege, and I would love to do it in that way starting January 2024. So
thank you so much, man. We would love that. We would be honored to have you join our sanctuary family here. Absolutely. And we hope to just keep growing this family. You know, I've got so many followers on all the different social media platforms. And I'm just thinking, like, man, if 1,000 of those followers just donated $5 a month through Patreon, we could cover most of the expenses right now at the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, man, if everybody set aside like $50 a month and gave 10 of their favorite animal rescue organizations $5 a piece each month, it would change so many animal sanctuaries and rescue organizations around the world. So I fully encourage that. Even with our situation, and Kelly and I still try to donate to other animal sanctuaries, especially the ones we know are doing good work. We know the people there are honest folks. And, you know, I like the smaller organizations personally because I know it's not, 90% of the funds going to administrative stuff, right? It's 90% is going to vet care, food, infrastructure, supplies, things like that. So I feel like in those smaller organizations, those dollars are put more directly to use for the animals. And that's not to say don't support the big organizations. Either do what you think is right, follow your heart and everything like that. Find out what's best for your own situation always.
Yeah. Of course, and I totally agree with you. I mean, because the smaller ones have smaller support networks. So the older ones have a little bit more of extended networks, and they have more opportunities even for creating merchandise, selling it. And so the smaller ones will have, on average, harder time with funding. And as you said, also, it's all worthwhile. Worth organizations are, as you were saying, and this is another thing, you were talking about the mushrooming of these organizations that disguise as animal charities. I get emails every day of people. I get sob stories every day. To me, here's the thing. A sob story and a compelling story are not the same thing. Somebody could talk to you about the hardship, but it's not a sob story. Sob story is a story about hardship that intends to manipulate you and make you make decisions that are probably not best. Another story that just tells you the reality. I don't feel manipulated. I feel compelled. And to me, it's almost like now it's at an intuitive level. You look at it and then you realize what is what. And that's incredibly important. And at Vegius, in fact, one of the things that we want to do down the road is to actually work with our partner sanctuaries and set up standards and set up some kind of a seal of accreditation. So this is not just, because if you want to play the games of nonprofit and sanctuary, there are zoos or petting zoos that disguise as sanctuaries or educational centers. You can do it. If you want to play the games, you can. And then, particularly when veganism is going to become more and more popular, and it is, I think there will be a lot of, we will see a lot of that where people will try to cut corners. But we will preemptively work together on doing that. But it's a lot to be done, but we are very excited about finding solutions, real solutions that will protect the sanctuaries. Not only you support them directly, but then all the donations out there, we will make it easier for people so that those donations go more effectively to the organizations.
Exactly. Because it breaks my heart to see scammers basically scamming good people who are thinking they're donating for a good cause, taking that money and just stealing it, basically. And that money was meant to go towards the actual people doing the charity work.
Correct.
And the animals, and to actually get the work done. So it's like, to me, it's like a travesty. It's a tragedy. It's terrible to see those fake, the fake charities, the ones out there who are just scammers, basically, stealing donations. It's like stealing money from the donation box at like your local food kitchen or something. It's insane to me that somebody thinks that that's like a viable business plan. Like, that's crazy. Like, what the heck, man?
Oh, absolutely.
It gets me heated. It gets me heated. Kelly and we talk about it all the time, like, these.
But Alex, though we both recognize this problem, we will do something about it. We'll find a way. And as I said, I already have an idea. Together, what we can do, set up standards, and then we will ask sanctuaries who would like to expose themselves to being accredited with this rigorous process. And then it's not just that, and it has to be sort of continuous. So every year or something gets renewed, and then you put that list. These are sanctuaries that actually meet certain standards, and these are the sanctuaries that we recommend that you donate to. And I think it's another layer of protection. And it's something I will be very, very happy to discuss with you a little bit more in detail down the road.
That, man, vetting actual charities and sanctuaries, I think, is a great service to do for society and this community at large, because it protects people, it protects their money, and it protects their good intentions. Because if somebody does something with good intentions and then they find out later it was a scam, like, that's a smack in the face. That's terrible. Nobody ever wants to feel like that. So I think what you're doing, setting up these standards and helping people find organizations that you have done your best effort to vet and determine through your due diligence that they are valid, legitimate organizations doing good work in whatever best efficient manner that they can with the money they get. I think it's a great service to everybody, really.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think it's incredibly vital, and it protects the donors and the sanctuaries, because then you don't have this other extra problem of competing with scammers for money that needs to go to you. So why deal with that extra problem in addition to all the other problems and challenges? I mean, it's enough that you have to wear 1,000 hats. And in fact, I was talking to a sanctuary founder, who became very close, very good friends now. She was telling me, she didn't go to her weddings, so her daughter got to marry in a foreign country. She was not able to leave the sanctuary and attend her daughter's wedding in a foreign sanctuary. I know somebody else, my friend Mandy Vara, she's outside, she wanted to rescue animals. She opened a sanctuary in Mexico. She's pretty much in the jungle in Mexico, and I mean near Cancun. And she hasn't taken a vacation.
Is that Black Sheep Sanctuary?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. So she hasn't taken a vacation for quite a while now, and so it's
late. We haven't either.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question. So Alex, if somebody asks you and says, running a sanctuary, what is the most surprising, inspiring thing that you have learned by being around animals? And also, what is the hardest thing that you personally have to deal with day in and day? There's one and it is hard. And I would like also our listeners, either live or listening to the recording, to understand that in addition to all these challenges, sanctuary founders are bearing witness on behalf of all of humanity. And they are exposed to some incredibly traumatic things, because you come face to face with human depravity, and it is not a very pretty thing to take a look at. So for you, Alex, what are things that surprised you the most, inspires you the most, and the thing that is really hard as a sanctuary founder to deal with?
Well, I'll start with the second question first. The two hardest things, I think, are the nonstop toiling and personal long suffering, and the grief of losing loved ones constantly. So the work never stops. There's never enough money, so you got to work extra to get the money to do the work, and you don't get days off. And then the second one is you do this work day in and day out, and when you do the work, you rescue these beings that become part of your family that you care for every single day, sometimes for years on end. And then when they pass away, it hurts. And say, we're a small sanctuary. We've got 30 residents. That's like in those 30 residents, every year, a couple of them pass from natural causes. And it hurts so much every single time. It can be traumatizing. And you really have to learn how to deal with grief constantly. So that's one of the hardest things. If you think that's going to be problematic, like, you might want to rethink it. Maybe volunteer at a sanctuary for a year straight or two, get really close to some of the animals, and be there through the whole life cycle. And like, if you have pets at home, like dogs and cats that you've rescued and care for, imagine that loss multiple times a year, sometimes back to back to back. It seems to happen in seasons. Like early this year, it's like boom, 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 3 animals, or like sometimes things go in threes, it seems like. And man, those are dark times for everybody. You don't get much sleep because like the work has to keep going on. You have to deal with all that at the same time, and then the medical bills from those, those situations, the medical bills stack up. So then you're like in the hole on top of it, and you have to dig yourself out. And then that's when the long suffering and the toiling that never stops comes in. So those are the two hardest things: the nonstop toiling and long suffering, and the grief. All right. So you got to be a masochist or something to do this kind of work, man. I'm telling you what. And I didn't know that going into this. Neither did my wife. We learned that the hard way. So if that can help anybody make a good decision about their life choices, there are other ways you can support this kind of work. Volunteer, donate, be an advocate and an educator, be a good example of what veganism can look like when it's successful in your own life. So yeah, and then what inspires me about this work? I think just the fact that I can make a difference on such a tangible level of another being really touches my heart in a way that it's hard to put into words. So it's really a purpose-driven life. If that's cliche, I don't know if that's a cliche saying, but I feel like I have a mission in my life. Mm-hmm. I am never bored. I don't have that convenience. I always have work to do that I believe in. I'm not working, for the man. Or if I am working for the man, it's because it's part of my mission to get the money to do the work that I'm meant to do by God, right? And I'm sorry if I throw God out, whatever, that's my personal belief. that I am God's hands out here trying to do the work that needs to be done for those that can't help themselves. And it's just like the little bit I can do while I'm here, man. And I know there are others doing way bigger and better things than me, and I think they're amazing. And I think we're all in this together to do whatever little bit we can. So that's what inspires me.
That's so beautiful. I also want to tell you something. I personally would advise you to stop apologizing about speaking your heart and saying why you think you're doing this. So to me, in fact, this is part of the beauty of our movement, is that you have people from all kinds of backgrounds. And to me, I love it when somebody tells me what they think that God has put them in there, regardless of what I personally believe. It's out of respect, and not just that. Each one of us experiences that, whatever it is that this transcendental, and to me, because otherwise, if I say that it's respect and inclusiveness, as long as you don't tell me anything, as long as we pretend, no, there is one of our sanctuary partners, Renee King, the founder of Rowdy Girl Sanctuary in Texas. She's a woman of deep faith, and I love her. I love her. And yeah, I love her for it. And I think people should speak. And in fact, we need people, because somebody who is from that faith community and hears somebody like you, is a lot more likely for them to take it seriously than if they believe that it is somebody coming from somebody they have nothing in common with. So no, I please don't stop apologizing, at least to me. You are very, very welcome in this space to speak whatever is your conviction, whatever that conviction is. Regardless of what I personally think, that's not what's at stake here. So.
I'm already such a black sheep with so many stigmas, being a vegan and a Christian and doing an animal sanctuary in a society where these days many of those things are frowned upon or thought as weird. But I think to be a vegan in general, or any kind of animal welfare advocate, makes you a black sheep, and you have to go your own way against the grain. Otherwise, you're going to let what other people think slow you down or stop you from doing the work. Absolutely. And I don't care how crazy I sound. I really don't. And if I apologize, it's just out of courtesy from how I was raised.
I absolutely get it. I was making a point, though. I was making a point. I know, but I was just making a point that I really love that about our movement, is that you can talk to people from anywhere in the world, and part of building a family is to accept everybody who they are and learn from them. To me, it's incredibly humbling to see somebody with that kind of commitment 7 days a week. I mean, what kind of motivation what kind of thing? I mean, because now people, you watch around you and you see the despair and stuff, yet you see somebody in the face of that despair day in and day out, and they still have strength, and you wonder, where is it coming from? So, Alex, I just wanted, so before we move on to the next question, I just want to remind our listeners, this is Faik Bouhrik, the founder of Vegius, and my guest is Alex Welch, the other co-founder who wasn't able to make it today. Kelly is his wife. Beautiful souls who run Karma Farm Sanctuary in Florida. So if you are listening to this live or on the recording, please give them a following. You could see the Alex's handle on top, and the sanctuary is just Karma Farm Sanctuary. And then if you are not following us and you are the followers of Alex, please give us give us a following on Vegius, and you could see it on top. It just says the Vegan Stay. And so that you could stay updated about very, very important developments coming up about the app and our crowdfunding campaign, and things coming up in the next month. Things are going to accelerate quite a bit. So, Alex, we have a few more minutes, and I would love to maybe a couple more questions I would like to ask. So, what do you see the future, 2024, for example, or beyond, as far as you can see? What is it? What are you dreaming of doing? So you told us one about being able to get to the place with your YouTube channel to be able to fund a lot of money so that the sanctuary becomes at least secure to a place where it's not a constant worry. So what else are you planning on doing? And please share with us also about your, the athletic journey, your business journey, as well as your sanctuary journey.
Well, we have a lot planned. Our to-do list is never ending. We're always shuffling the priorities as new emergencies arise. So number one is do the best we can to take care of the animals that we've promised to care for always. So that's always number one priority. If we have to drop something to make sure those animals are cared for, we will do that. And you know that our first call I had to cancel because I was in the middle of a dog rescue. So being such a patient person with me. So that's number one, care for the animals. Number two is try to scale this thing. Try to build my YouTube channel and my business to a point where I can scale this beyond where we are now. It's incredible how much money it takes to do this kind of work. And Kelly and I are very stubborn people where we always tell ourselves, if we can't pay for everything here, then that puts us at risk. Because if we have to rely on donors and they disappear, then we could be putting ourselves in a position to fail the animals and failing our mission. So I have to be economically successful. So I have to make more and more money. And that's kind of my role right now, is figuring out ways to build my businesses, scale my brands, get more clients, build more, make more content to get more revenue to put into this thing. And then also on top of that, we're increasing our fundraising efforts. So we haven't really been the kind of organization that asks for money, but that's what we're learning how to do, is learning how to ask people for support, because people want to support this kind of thing. And we're going to get better at saying, hey, if you want to support us helping animals, please consider donating or joining our Patreon, because we need the money to keep doing this work, right? So that's another thing we're going to do more of, to try to get a bigger donor base, because really that can help us scale this to all new heights as well. If I can hit both of those goals in 2024 and just keep increasing those metrics, then the work we can do here will eventually scale out of this 5-acre property. And then I would eventually like to get a much larger property to do this on a much bigger scale. Long term, Faik, I don't know how yet, but there's so much magic happening in my life all the time that I don't doubt that this will happen in my lifetime, that I want to make tens of millions of dollars. My goal is $100 million, put it into a trust fund to support this sanctuary and others long after I'm dead. I don't have kids. That's what I want my legacy to be. I'm already in a position where I can't stop working. I have to break through it. There's no backing out. I have to break through or die. Those are my only options, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And that's my plan. And however I have to do to get there, I'm going to do it. However I can draw attention to myself and this mission, I'm going to do it. If I have to, I don't get much sleep as it is, but if I have to stay up an extra hour each night and lift weights at 3 a.m. and then try to survive on 4 or 5 hours of sleep like I do a lot of times, so that way I can show that you can be strong as a vegan, and I can network better in the vegan fitness community, which is amazing. The people out here are so inspiring, and they're so compassionate and generous and just amazing people. I'm going to do that. I'm going to lift the weights. I'm going to eat the bodybuilding diet. I'm going to do it. I'm going to show people you can be strong. It helps me do the workout here. It helps me carry hay bales and trailers and dig holes and do all the stuff we got to do. And then at the same time, it shows you can be strong, you can be a vegan, and then I want to support other vegans. So any vegan out there, I don't care if you're a bodybuilder or not. If you're a vegan, you are a superhero to me. You are already doing so much more by being vegan than I could probably do, or I have already done with my animal rescue, because by being vegan, you save hundreds of animals' lives every single year. I just want to applaud everybody who's already plant-based, already vegan, because you're saving so many lives. You're a superhero to me, and everybody who's doing super cool stuff while being vegan, and they're out there inspiring other people and educating other people to be living a compassionate life and thriving and exceeding and excelling. I think we should support everybody we can. Go on Instagram, go on whatever social platforms you can, follow them, like all their stuff, leave comments saying, great job, way to go. I love this. And boost the algorithm for everybody, because that'll get that in front of more people. That will inspire and educate more people. Everybody has a role they can play in their own way. If you're a vegan bodybuilder, use it, right? If you're an astrophysicist and a mathematician, professor, an entrepreneur, use it. Like, and I'm talking to you, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. And in fact, it's so funny. I in my Facebook status, that's what I wrote last week. I said something along the lines of, I didn't have much money. Well, because you could only make so many donations. That's not really the type of money that's needed for. I said, but I decided to donate my imagination, my heart, and my time. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Yes.
That's exactly what I absolutely agree with you. Because once you do that soul searching, you realize what your strengths are. It could be bodybuilding. It could be standing in front of people. For you, it's all of these. It could be just speaking and saying, I'm a man of faith, and that's what I feel I'm guided to do. It could be anything that there are so many angles, so many connections that we have with people, and every connection we have with people, it lowers their guard. It makes people less defensive. This is one of us in some way. It's funny just how people work. Then people are a lot more likely to listen to you. Like, for example, for me, I grew up in Algeria. I lived in the US for more than half of my life. But still, if I go back to Algeria, if I speak about veganism, and let's say somebody from France speaks about veganism, it's more likely they're going to listen to me. Not because I'm any more logical. Let's say somebody is same Xerox copy, but just happens to be French, or let's say German. Yeah. But there is that commonality, whatever it is. Sometimes it's even imagined commonality, but it is that people.
It's a form of tribalism. There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, exactly. And let's use it in a healthy way. Let's use it instead of us versus them. No, let's use it in a healthy way.
Let's use it to bridge those gaps and bring people together and build communities. And I think that's what I love about what you're doing, is you're bringing people together. You're bringing these players in the space together that have these vast networks already, and you're connecting them. And that those synergies, they're immeasurable. Really hard to calculate the effect that has, but it's large. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Because together we magnify our voice for the animals, and we say we want to define this space this way. We're not going to let somebody define it for us. We have the power to define it. Democracy is incredibly powerful. It's a very, very powerful concept. So, Alex, thank you so very, very much for being with us. And is there something final thoughts for today that you would like to share? And let's do this again. And next time, hopefully, we get to see the animals and get to talk to Kelly as well. But
Sure.
We'll do it again and again. So, but some final thoughts just for today.
All right, final thoughts. First, follow at The Vegan Stay on Instagram. It's this guy, Faik Bouhrik, The Vegan Stay, which is now rebranded as Vegius. He's doing awesome stuff. Support his app and business that donates half of all the profits back to animal sanctuaries and charities, and helps get people's stories out there at these animal sanctuaries that I think it's so important for people to hear. So follow this guy. He's awesome. And then, of course, and check out my animal sanctuary, Karma Farm Sanctuary. If you want to see animal videos and pictures, we got tons of them. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place. And we got awesome, hilarious videos. The animals here, they're characters. They're their own little people with their own personalities. And it fills our lives with joy and endless laughs. And we like to share those special moments with everybody that we can. So you can see that animals really are sentient beings with emotions and personalities, and even oftentimes senses of humor. And you can see that in these videos. So follow us on at Karma Farm Sanctuary. Please consider donating, because we need all the help we can get to save more animals and care for the ones we have here. Follow us on Patreon. You can donate on PayPal, however you want to do it. also have animal artwork. So our animals, we have figured out how to get them to paint paintings. And if you're one of our Patreon supporters or you donate or something, just send us a DM and we can get them your favorite animal to paint you a custom painting just for you. And that's been really fun for our supporters. And then, you know, follow YaBonks. That's my brand. The bigger I can grow this YaBonks brand, the more I can monetize this thing and do more stuff for Karma Farm Sanctuary. And I also use the YaBonks brand to raise money for other animal sanctuaries. I've donated through the YaBonks community to multiple other animal sanctuaries already, and I want to do that in a bigger way. So yeah, follow us there and follow anybody that you think is doing something awesome out here. Like all their content, leave comments, help boost them on the algorithm, and spread the good word. Because, like I said, this is the beginning of the future of civilization. We're at the forefront of that movement, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Historians in 1,000 years are going to look back at this time and then are going to see where our views about other animals, about other sentient beings changed. And in fact, this is a lot more radical than the revolution of Copernicus and the revolutions that, you know, at the time of Copernicus and Galileo and even Darwin. And in fact, this is in a way just culturally catching up with those scientific revolutions. You know, we're not the center of the universe. We are part of very, very vast network of existence. And to think that we are on top of it and we are the alpha sort of thing, whatever the thing is, it's the ultimate expression of arrogance. And in fact, wisdom traditions like Christianity and world religions and none of them buy into this idea that we are somehow on top of. None of that. For them, this idea is entirely it's heresy, and it is. I absolutely cannot agree more. And we are taking baby steps in learning our place as one of many, many species that have lived on this earth. And just because we kind of overpower somebody, it does not mean that we are better and we are superior. And we have a long way to learn, and I'm so incredibly happy. I met Alex only recently, and Alex is so amazing, and everybody can see the passion, the conviction, the commitment. And, you know, Alex, I really cannot wait to see where all of this is going to take us in the coming months and years to come. We will work together as one global community bound by compassion, and we are going to contribute to shaping a world that is going to be accommodating to all of us. So it's totally up to us. We have the power and we are going to use it. So thank you so very much. I cannot wait to cross paths with you again, hopefully next time with Kelly and the animals, and come visit. In fact, come visit, and for sure I will be joining the sanctuary as a member.
Yes.
January 2024. Take great care, and thank you so very much for your time, and we'll be in touch. Bye, Alex. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Faik.
Absolutely.
Bye.